Hi, welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where today I'm making what I'm going to call an Easter Pavlova. And what a Pavlova is, if you don't know, you're probably American. For some reason, it's never come here and been a popular dessert. It's a meringue bowl, if you will, and it's filled with whipped cream, and then on top of that, macerated strawberries. That's the classic one. This is a little riff on that. I made this for one of my cooking classes, and it was a huge hit. What we're starting with is 5 eggs, and you want the whites in your mixing bowl. Now, I'm going to keep the egg yolks aside. That's going to become the lemon curd later on. If you have that little stringy thing, that's called the calese. It's the attachment between the yolk and the white. Sometimes it stays on the yolk, sometimes it stays on the white. It doesn't matter if it's in here, but you do not want any yolk in there because yolk contains fat, and that will keep this from really getting fluffy. So I'm going to turn this on a medium speed just to get it frothy, and that's how you start a meringue. So you're going to start building your foam on top of these big bubbles. I think of it like a pyramid where you have a base, and this is your base. Now you turn your mixer on high, and we're going to create that foam that becomes your meringue. So here we go. This is just about midway through. This is sort of a grayish white color. And now is when you start slowly adding your sugar. What I have for sugar is a super fine sugar. So what I'm going to do is start it up again. I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to add sugar a little bit at a time. By the time it's all in there, the meringue should be ready. And there is that peak holding. Meringue is so beautiful. I have a couple more additions. I wanted to add vanilla to this. So here goes the vanilla. The other addition is a white wine vinegar. I have 4 teaspoons of cornstarch in here, or corn flour. And this is 2 teaspoons of white wine vinegar. That was 1 teaspoon of vanilla, by the way. What this combination does is it makes your meringue chewy on the inside, sort of like marshmallow. And on the outside, you're going to have a crispy exterior, which is exactly what you want for Pavlova. Now I'm going to just run the beater until this is all mixed up. Well, I've chosen an open star tip for the meringue. You don't have to have a tip at all. You can just do this from a plastic bag if you want. So this is an 18-inch bag, and the way that I set up a tip is I'll put it inside the bag. I'll score with my scissors just right around, and then that's enough to cut this end off. You just make a cup with your hand, and then go ahead and fill that bag. And let me show you how I prepared this cookie sheet. What I've done is I took a 3.5 inch, that's 9 centimeters, little biscuit cutter, and just put it down and traced it with a pencil. But you don't want to eat the graphite. So I take this, flip it over. So now I just trace around, fill the inside, and I want to build a little wall around the edge. Now, if you don't have a tip and you don't have a plastic bag, or you don't want to bother with all of this, you can go ahead and just use a spoon and scoop this out. But that's going to be the little basket that we're going to put our lemon curd in. So this is a great thing with meringues. You just take it off. If you don't like it, if it came out crooked and you don't want to use it, just take it away. When the meringue is inside the bag, I use something like a bench scraper to just push everything down. And then what I do, this is just my thing, I twist the bag and then twist the excess around my finger. with the extra meringue, I'm just going to make some little meringue cookies. Maybe a little scallop shape. You can make a little heart. So now there's absolutely no waste. This goes into a 250-degree oven, which is 121 Celsius, and it's probably going to take, for these larger nests, about 2 hours. The way that you know that these are ready is if you can go into the oven, well, take them out of the oven, and then just easily lift them off of the parchment paper. If you want to make a family-sized pavlova, which is actually what's more traditional, you would do an 8-inch or 21-centimeter circle and do this exact same thing. So I'm putting these in the oven right now, and I will see you when they're ready. Okay, well, I've set myself up. I have the egg yolks. They're back in town. I have a strainer over them because what we're going to do is take this lemon and juice the lemon and put it in here. And you want to zest a lemon that is whole rather than cut it first and then try to zest it. And lemons, when they are room temperature, you get more juice out of them than if you try to use them when they're cold. But if you do have to use them cold, a couple of things you can do. One is you just roll until you can feel that it's softened up somewhat. The other thing is you can pop it in the microwave and nuke it for a few seconds until it gets warm. But be careful doing that because you don't want your lemons to explode. Exploding. The exploding lemon sounds like a rock band. I like that. 1 lemon zested. I'm going with, this is 5 egg yolks, as you'll recall. I want about 1/3 to 1/2 cup of lemon juice. That depends on how sweet tart you like your lemons. And to make it easy for you, you can put a fork in here and just kind of get this going, get all the juices going, and then squeeze it. Another good tip is to take one of these little guys, tongs, and just squeeze with that. Now I have all the seeds in here. And I think I'm just going to go with that 1 lemon. That was pretty juicy. So here's the zest. I find more and more that whenever I use lemon juice, I always seem to want to zest as well. This is 1 cup, 200 grams of granulated sugar. That goes in, and then you're just going to mix all of this up. And whenever you use something that's very sweet, it's a good idea to throw in just a pinch of salt, just to balance that out. I'm also putting in, now we're not making the filling for lemon meringue pie, so this doesn't have to get thick, but I do want a thickening agent in here. I'm going with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch or corn flour. You may know it as that. That goes in. All of this just gets beaten up. For every egg yolk that you're using, you want 1 tablespoon of butter. Okay, so I'm just going to put this over a water bath, and you don't want, when you have a water bath going, you just want to use the steam, very gentle steam, to cook with. So this is just barely simmering, and that's fine. And you stir, stir, stir. You're going to wait for it to thicken, and I'll show you when we get there. I have not been timing this, but I've been here probably 4, maybe 5 minutes, and I'm about halfway there, and I just wanted to show you what that means. This is starting to thicken. If I hold this up, you see, I can make a line through here, but if I hold it this way, I know it's not going to hold. You see, it's running. One thing that you have to remember is that you don't want the heat very, very high because this will scramble or become scrambled eggs. The other thing is that as this cools, it will thicken. My stirring utensil of choice is this spatula, and the reason is because if you look at the footprint of a spoon, you have very little use right here, whereas a spatula is nice and wide, and I can get a lot of action going. I can do a lot of scraping down of the bowl, etc. in one fell swoop, as opposed to a spoon where you really have to work at it. So I'm just going to hang here for another 5, and I'll see you then. All right, well, this is done. It's thicker and creamier than it was, and this time you can see, hopefully, that more product stays on your spoon, or spatula in this case. You run your finger, oh, it's hot. And if you hold it this way, it still holds. So this is ready. And at this point, I'm going to just take one piece at a time, 1 tablespoon at a time. Now I have my butter in here. It's a little chilly, so it's going to help cool this down. It gives it a creaminess. And also when this cools down, it will make it a more creamy product and helps to sort of hold it all together. I have plastic wrap while this is still warm, and I'm putting it right on top of this lemon curd. And you do that to prevent this from getting a skin on it. And now this can go into the fridge and you just wait for it to cool down. So again, another great do ahead. You can do this a couple of days in advance. Same with the meringues. So if you're planning on bringing these somewhere, not a problem. And I'll see you when we're ready to put this all together. Well, now it's time to assemble everything, and this is a lot of fun for kids to do. Here's what I have. Here are the 6 shells that I made. I have enough cookies that I can also make a little sandwich cookie with some of these. So that's the meringues. Then, and you want these to be cool, completely cool before you start in on this. This is the lemon curd, which has no skin on it, which is great. And that's nice and cool now. And as you can see, it's quite a bit different in texture than it was when we put it in the fridge. And I made some whipped cream and I stabilized that. And if you need to know what that is, I have a video that I can post at the end of this one. So what I'm going to do is just take some of this curd and put it in with the whipped cream. And then just sort of fold it in. And if it's streaky, that's okay. I'm going to just show you a couple of these so that you get the idea. This is filled just with lemon curd. On this one, I have a little lemon curd at the bottom and put meringue on the top. And this one looks more like an egg, doesn't it? Because I put the lemon curd on top. Just some M&Ms, but they're in the Easter colors. I have some jelly beans. Maybe I'll put those on this one as a topper. Aren't these cute, these little chickies? There is your Easter Pavlova. It's a great treat, something a little different. Now, if I did this right, then the inside of this meringue should have just a little chewiness to it, softness like a marshmallow. It's so good with the curd. And you know, I ate one with a little M&Ms in it. The chocolate with this is really excellent. I think the lemon brings not only a sour note to something that can be ultra sweet, but it also makes it so fresh and clean tasting. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you do this. Please do this. Let me know if you do. And have a happy Easter, everyone. Stay safe. Bye, guys.